A very good evening and welcome to a brand new edition of Newsfirst Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Udanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening. Dinesh and Vasu given cabinet ministerial positions. Puttalam UNP MP Ashok Priyantha appointed as a state minister. Kelly Rambukwella appointed state minister of mass media. US-Japan freeze aid to Sri Lanka over constitutional crisis, says Ranil Wickramasinghe. UNP supporters voice opposition against the appointment of Prime Minister. Venerable Athurali Ratanathera pledges support to President. And now the story is in detail. Two new ministers, one state minister and a deputy minister were sworn in before President Maithripala Sirisena today.
Dinesh Gunawardena was sworn in as the Minister of Megapolis and Western Development. Vasudeva Nanayakara was sworn in as the Minister of National Irrigation, Reconciliation and Official Languages. Kelly Rambukwella was sworn in as the State Minister of Mass Media and Digital Infrastructure. R.D. Ashoka Priyantha was sworn in as the Deputy Minister of Cultural and Internal Affairs and Regional Development.
Parliamentarian Venerable Athurali Ratanathera says he will support the current caretaker government and the President. The Thera made this statement at a media briefing in Colombo today.
As soon as this government came into power, the bond scam happened, and there was massive corruption. I state very clearly that the Prime Minister has a responsibility. The governor of the central bank that was appointed is still not found. We are looking for him through international courts. He is still not caught. They could not continue the Hambantota report. When there were cases filed against the Singapore agreement, Minister Mangala Samaravira ignored all of that and unilaterally went ahead and issued the gazette for tax relief according to the Singapore agreement. Therefore, we approve the decision taken by the President to appoint a new Prime Minister. Many economic and political decisions were not of the President. Someone might feel that one reason for this was the assassination plot on the President's life. This assassination plot was not a joke. The appointment done by the President was completely ethical and legal. This government should change. The government has about one more year. This parliament can be dissolved at any moment. An election should be called immediately. This is our stance. The government that came to be under the Prime Ministership of Mahinda Rajapaksa can be considered a caretaker government. Take 3 months. Even though I support the government, I will sit in the opposition. I will work as an independent parliamentarian. I will use the strength I have. I will definitely stand with the President. Definitely.
Organizer of the National Freedom Front, Jayantha Samaravira, convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
We heard a telephone conversation of SB Dissanayake inviting Palitha Range Bandara. It is clear through this that they invite people to cross over using money or some other manner. Why is this happening?
There is no need to give Range Bandara money for this. He is the person who waged war against Ranil Wickramasinghe before us all. Range Bandara wanted to break the government before this. Range Bandara might be doing something to win the heart of Ranil Wickramasinghe. We will have to look into whether this is true. That will have to be sent to the government analyst.
A group of UNP MPs met with the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Askili chapters to inform them of the prevailing political situation in the country.
Representatives of the United National Party called on the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero.
Parliament has been prorogued without informing the Speaker of the House, and the Prime Minister has been appointed who does not claim a majority in Parliament. Both of these decisions go against the Constitution. The President has acted against the people's mandate by appointing someone who lost at the presidential elections as the Prime Minister. There is an act called the Powers and Privileges Act. It says that we must follow UK parliamentary traditions. We are trying to spread awareness across the country to convene Parliament and solve this issue through claiming majority in Parliament. It is the Speaker who is the main person in the context of this political issue. He requested a meeting with members of both parties. 34 members from Mahinda Rajapaksa's side and 117 members from our end were present at that meeting. During the meeting, a resolution was passed to terminate powers of the 3 gazettes issued to remove the Prime Minister, appoint a new Prime Minister and prorogue Parliament. Security personnel of our Prime Minister has been reduced to 10. We did not do such a thing. We had allocated 204 personnel for the former President's security. At least 70 personnel were allocated for the former Defence Secretary. Security has been reduced for the Prime Minister as well as for all of us. As the Minister of Law and Order, I only have 2 security personnel.
Meanwhile, the MPs met with the Chief Prelate of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Srinyana Ratana Thero, and discussed on the current political situation. Subsequently, the UNP MPs expressed the following views.
We do not accept the appointment of this illegal Prime Minister, and a resolution has been passed against it. Apart from the 118, we have 4 from the JVP, 2 from the TNA, and with the Prime Minister we have a total of 125 votes. We believe that when Parliament is convened, we can claim a majority.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Sarath Amanugama called on the Mahanayaka Theras of the Askiri and Malwatu chapters today.
The minister called on the chief prelate of the Askiri chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Varakagoda Jnanaratana Thera, and obtained blessings. The minister explained about the current political situation in the country. As per the tradition, the parliament will not convene for 2 weeks for the budget to be presented. We are in that period of transition now. There are only 11 days for the crisis. But if the president wants, he can go on for 2 months as per the law. The president also spoke about the budget. The 16th is not a date that is etched on stone. That is the time needed to practically make a budget. If it is done before that, then it is good. It is not a big problem. We see it as a practical issue. Thereafter, the minister called on the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thera. The power to prorogue Parliament is with the President. You might remember something similar during the time of R. Premadasa. R. Premadasa prorogued Parliament. That is a right that cannot be taken away by anyone. Even the Speaker cannot do it. That has not been changed. What has happened is surprising. There is one thing in English and another in Sinhala. The Sinhala says removal from office and the English does not have that. The President explained this to the ambassadors as well. Everyone who did this have been looking at this in English and they have not looked into the Sinhalese one. Therefore, the complete powers are still there. The final decision regarding all the laws in the country will be done in the Sinhalese language. The minister then spoke to journalists. If there is a difference in opinion, there are provisions to go to court. When there is a difference, the party which has the problem can ask for the interpretations of the court regarding the constitution. If Ranil Wickremesinghe has a problem, he has to go to court and get the court to explain the constitutional situation. That door was not opened. That is the puzzle. Why didn't they do this?
Details of the Jana Mahime rally that will be held tomorrow was discussed at a media briefing convened by representatives of the government today.
This rally will begin from the parliamentary roundabout at 12 noon, so there will be a heavy traffic congestion from 12 noon to 6 p.m. We are trying to stage this rally in a manner that does not inconvenience the general public. During the entirety of last week, the Honourable Speaker was in Parliament exercising his powers in an improper manner. At a time when Parliament is prorogued, the doors of the parliamentary room was opened and representatives of the UNP held media briefings from there. On the morning of the 5th, the Prime Minister will assume his duties at the Prime Minister's office at the parliamentary complex and attend the Jana Mahima rally along with the new leader of the House, Dinesh Gunawardena, and President Maithripala Sirisena. The United National Front at no point said that they have the mandate of the people, but we say that we do. The final election that the people's mandate can be measured in was the local government elections. At this election, the SLPP, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the United People's Freedom Alliance obtained 56% of the vote. Do not obstruct the people's mandate. We will show you the people's mandate at the parliamentary roundabout at 12 tomorrow. What we can see and hear everywhere is that the Maitri Mahinda combination is good for the country. The United National Party is left with the opinion of the international community. In the past, the people who were most frustrated with this government were the UNPers. Therefore, the Jana Mahima rally tomorrow will attract a large number of people.
Moving on, the JVP convened a media briefing at the party headquarters in Battaramulla today.
ඔබ කාටත් පේනවා.
It is very evident that parliamentarians have fallen to the level of rotten fish. It has become a gamble that sells them for 400 to 500 million rupees. We foresaw this. This is why when the 19th Amendment was brought, we added a clause on bringing an immediate stop to the ministers crossing over. In the last moment, after everyone agreed on this clause, when the amendment was read in Parliament, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and Vijayadasa Rajapaksa opposed to this clause and removed it. Now the whole country sees the consequences of this. The TNA took ministers onto their laps. Where are the ministers who talked of separatism? In this power struggle, the JVP is neither on the side of Mahinda nor Ranil. The JVP clearly voted against the no-confidence motion for Ranil Wickremesinghe. We are of the stance that the parliament needs to be convened. Some of them are trying to recruit us to the UNP to keep us quiet. Incentives have been given to the people to establish this power change. They were unable to reduce the price of petrol before. How did they do it suddenly? How did they reduce the price of goods which they were previously unable to reduce? We are clearly saying that these people who were sold and bought cannot be called ministers.
UNP supporters staged protests in several areas demanding to restore democracy in the country by convening parliament.
A protest was staged opposite the Mathura bus depot under the theme Defeat Conspiracy, Protect Good Governance and Move Forward with the UNP. The protest was headed by UNP MP Mangala Samaravira. A protest was staged in Boat the Bingiria demanding to convene parliament immediately. UNP MP Nalin Bandara also joined the protest. A protest organized by Akila Viraj Karya Wasam was staged in Kuliyapitiya today. UNP supporters, provincial council representatives and several others joined the protest demanding to safeguard democracy in the country. Another protest was staged in Nitambur today. Chandradasa Swarnalal, UNP electoral organizer of the Attanagalla electorate and several other UNP supporters joined the protest. Another group staged a demonstration obstructing the Kataragama-Colombo main road to support the United National Party. Vehicular movement in Ambalantota along the Colombo-Kataragama main road was hampered due to the protest. The protest was staged demanding for Parliament to be reconvened. A protest was also staged in Tabuteg.
Minister of Skills Development and Vocational Training Dayasiri Chasekar expressed these views during the Ilake program telecast on our sister channel Sirasa TV.
There is a serious issue that we all must admit. This issue has gone up to the national issue of the Tamil people of this country. Mahinda Rajapaksa is the popular leader who represents the Sinhala Buddhist sentiment of the country. Then Maithripala Sirisena is the leader who represents all Sri Lankans, including Sinhalese, Tamil and Muslim communities. The unison of these two leaders will direct the country towards bringing about a lasting solution to the national issue of the country. Then the Tamil National Alliance must remember that their main political duty is to solve the political issues of the people of the North. Whenever they take some measures for this purpose, the people of the South would think, why should they help to solve the issues of the Tamil? Now, for example, the Buddhist monks in the South, they are very opinionated. We as the SLFP have expressed our stance with regard to the Constitution, but the UNP is yet to express theirs. They have simply accepted the Constitution. That is a very cunning act. They do not say that they have an opinion. They are now in a position to say yes to anything for the votes of the Tamil. Yes, but the SLFP has clearly stated that we are bound to protect Buddhism and we must protect unity. But what is happening at the moment is that the votes of the TNA parliamentarians like Sumantiran, in order to save their seat for those 16 who wish to be appointed to parliament through the UNP national list, are clearly placed on the UNP. Then what would the Sinhala people of the South think? The people of the South, who are with Mahinda Rajapaksa and President Maithripala Sirisena, would think that the problems of the Tamil people in the North should be solved with the help of the UNP.
ඔබ යෝජනා කරන්නේ මේ පවතින වාතාවරණය ඇතුලේ දෙමළ ජාතික සන්ධානය
උතුරේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ජාතික ප්‍රශ්නයට උත්තරයක් හෙවීම සඳහා කළ යුතු බුද්ධිමත්ම තීරණය මේ මොහොතේ දෙපැත්තම ඡන්දය නොදී නිහඬ වීමද
මම කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි. මොකද හේතුව
ඕනෝන් යම් කිසි තීරණයක් ගත්තොත් අවසන් මොහොතේ කුමනෝ හේතුවක් මත මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිවරට සහාය දක්වන්නේ.
මම කියන්නේ ඒක
I say that too is not necessary. If they are following a middle path, then it would be easy for us to resolve this issue.
President Maithripala Sirisena visited the Egoda Kalaniya Raja Mahaviharya this morning to inspect the renovation activities.
The President inspected the renovation activities following religious observances. The Egoda Kalaniya Raja Mahaviharya has a historical significance. The renovation work is being carried out as per the instructions of the chief incumbent of the Kalaniya Raja Mahaviharya, Venerable Professor Kollupitiya Mahinda Sangarakita Thera.
NDTV reports that US and Japan freeze aid to Sri Lanka over constitutional crisis.
According to NDTV, Sri Lanka's deposed Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said the United States and Japan had frozen more than $1 billion of development aid after his abrupt dismissal, raising doubts about the future of democracy in the island. The article says the Sri Lankan embassy in Washington has been informally told by the MCC that around $480 million will be on hold because of the latest situation in the country. A Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry official separately confirmed to Reuters. An official at the Sri Lankan Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development also confirmed the freeze to Reuters on the Japanese loan imperiling the project. An official at the Japan International Cooperation Agency said the agency was closely monitoring political developments and the railway project loan had been withheld. The Economy Next reported that the International Monetary Fund is monitoring a political crisis in Sri Lanka. Economy Next, quoting an official of the IMF, says it is in touch at a technical level regarding the situation in the country. Sri Lanka has missed targets in an IMF program, especially in forex reserves, after the central bank stopped mopping up foreign inflows in February and destabilized the de facto peg with the US dollar by cutting rates and injecting new money in April. The IMF spokesman Jerry Rice is quoted as saying, "The IMF is not in the political realm, but clearly we take note of recent developments. We are monitoring the situation closely and we remain in contact with our counterparts at the technical level. I don't have any assessment as yet on potential program implications here in Sri Lanka." Meanwhile, the Ceylon today reported the central bank's lending to the government of Sri Lanka, commonly known as money printing, increased by 36.61% to rupees 119,463.60 million since Mahinda Rajapaksa assumed duties as the country's new Prime Minister and Finance Minister.
SLPP Pradeshya Sabha member L.H. Shanta was killed in a shooting that took place in Hakmana, Matara today. Meanwhile, in another shooting that took place in the Alagala area in Tissamaharamaya, an individual sustained injuries and was admitted to hospital.
The police revealed that the shooting took place this evening while the injured was in his residence. The injured individual was admitted to the Hambantota hospital and later transferred to the Karapitiya hospital for further treatment. The injured individual has been identified as a 21-year-old resident of Allagala. The police said the suspect has been identified. According to the police, during the past months, 408 individuals have been killed, of which 46 were shot dead and the remaining 362 were murdered with sharp weapons and tools. The police further revealed that 60 individuals responsible for organized crime were taken into custody during this year.
Also in local news, several media briefings were convened at Temple Trees today. And MP Navin Dissanayake said that a proposal to amend the constitution disabling the president from proroguing parliament will be brought forward in the near future.
We will
present a proposal to change the President's powers to prorogue Parliament. It should only be through the Speaker's written consent the Parliament can be prorogued, and we hope to implement this in the future. The people know why Parliament was prorogued. They are trying to buy MPs like buying prostitutes. This is not a way of doing politics. Those who offer bribes and those who accept bribes are both in fault. A name was revealed yesterday, the name of Ranjit Bandara, who I believe is one of the leading economists in Sri Lanka. He worked alongside Basil Rajapaksa and he should reveal the truth. We do not view this issue from a UNP, an issue that goes against democracy in the country. Decisions must be taken in accordance to the majority in Parliament. The Parliament must be convened to determine whether a majority is in favour of Mahinda Rajapaksa or Ranil Wickremesinghe. Every day the Parliament is prorogued, the country is further deprived of democracy. State institutions are not functioning properly. Ministry secretaries and officials are not executing their duties and following orders of a Prime Minister who does not claim majority, fearing for their lives. There is no need to fear. Our party will ensure these issues are looked into. Venerable Ratanathera is not a member of our party anyway, and he continuously made many issues with the government. We love and respect Venerable Ratanathera for his efforts to restore democracy. However, there were various opinions on the policies which were followed, which is not an issue in a democratic country.
Parliamentarian M.A. Sumantaran expressed these views at a youth meeting organized by the Lanka Tamil Arskache.
எங்களுடைய கட்சியை கூறு போடுவதற்கு இன்றைக்கு முனைந்திருக்கிறார். இது அவருடைய இறுதிக்கான ஆரம்பம். அவருக்கு பகிரங்கமாக நான் சொல்லி வைக்க விரும்புகிறேன். எங்களுடைய உப்பை தின்று வந்து எங்களுடைய கட்சியிலே இருந்து ஒருவரை திருடி அரை அமைச்சராக பதவி பிரமாணம் செய்திருக்கிற அந்த மோசமான செயலை செய்த ஜனாதிபதி நீ, உனக்கு நாங்கள் எப்படி ஆதரவு கொடுக்க போகிறோம்? எங்களுடைய மக்களை கூறு போடுவதற்கா உன்னை நாங்கள் கொண்டு வந்தோம்? இன்றைக்கு எங்களையே பிரித்து போடுவதற்கான சூழ்ச்சி செய்கிற கபடமான ஜனாதிபதியாக மாறி இருக்கிறாய். இது உன்னுடைய அழிவுக்கு ஆரம்பம்.
MP Sumandiran addressed the president in a very indecent manner while speaking at an event in Vaunia. He has forgotten that it was because of the president that thousands of acres of land were released to the people in the north, and it is only because of this government MP Sumandiran has the freedom to talk about the president in this manner. Sumandiran and the rest are angry with this situation. They are acting in a very uncivilized way. This shows the deal. MP Sumandiran has to be more respectful when he speaks about the President, Prime Minister or the ministers.
And in sports news this evening, England wicketkeeper Johnny Bairstow has been ruled out of the first test against Sri Lanka on Tuesday because of his ankle injury.
The 29-year-old twisted his ankle playing football in training during the one-day series and missed the final two 50-over matches. England coach Trevor Bayliss said the tourists were undecided if Jos Buttler or Ben Foakes would keep in goal.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.